You ever have one of those moments that's so unexpected, so completely random, that you're just kind of speechless? Well, English has this perfect, really colorful phrase for that exact feeling. And today, we're going to dive into what it means and where it comes from. We've all been there, right? You're just going about your day, everything's totally normal, and then, bam! Something happens that you did not see coming. It's such a universal feeling, that little jolt of pure surprise. You know, it's that moment where your brain just hits pause and goes, wait, what? Where on earth did that come from? Sometimes it's a wonderful thing, and other times, well, not so much. I mean, think about it. It could be something like picking up your phone and seeing a name you haven't seen in a decade. Or maybe you're just watching the news and a story just completely stops you in your tracks. These are those moments that feel like they just appear out of thin air. And for moments just like those, English has the perfect expression. It's short, it's memorable, and it's actually really visual. It's out of the blue. So when you say something happened out of the blue, you're really emphasizing one thing above everything else. There was absolutely no warning. It was a complete and total surprise. And trust me, this is an idiom you'll hear all the time in everyday, casual conversation. Okay, so we know what it means, but how does it actually sound in a real conversation? Let's walk through a quick example. All right, so picture this. Your friend says this to you, and they're totally shocked, super excited. They weren't expecting any money, and definitely not a gift that big. And see, that is a perfect use of the phrase. You're not just saying, wow, you're acknowledging the surprise of it all. It wasn't just a gift. It was an unexpected gift. Notice how naturally it just slots right into the flow of the chat. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. Why blue? What does a color have to do with being surprised? It's a great question, and the answer is actually, well, surprisingly visual. The entire meaning is kind of hidden in plain sight, right there in that one word, blue. But it's probably not the kind of blue you're thinking of. So is it about feeling sad, like singing the blues? Nope. Not this time. The answer is way more literal, and it has everything to do with what you see when you just look up. The whole idea comes from this brilliant visual metaphor. Just picture a vast, clear, empty blue sky. There's nothing there, right? It's just blue. And then, from that emptiness, a bird suddenly swoops in. Where did it come from? Well, it came out of the blue. It's such a powerful image for anything that just appears suddenly from a place where there was nothing before. Now, it's really important to note this phrase is pretty flexible. Most of the time, yeah, you'll hear it for neutral or positive things, like that surprise $1,000 gift. But it can also be used for a really shocking piece of bad news. The key isn't whether the event is good or bad. It's about how completely unexpected it was. Okay, so you've got the definition, you've seen an example, and you even know the origin story. I think you're ready for a quick challenge to put it all together. Let's do it. So, which one of these situations would you describe as happening out of the blue? Is it A, it rains, just like the weather forecast said it would? B, a cousin you haven't heard from in years gives you a call? Or C, you go to a scheduled meeting at work? I'll give you a second to think it over. If you said B, you are absolutely right. Rain that's on the forecast isn't a surprise, and a scheduled meeting is literally the opposite of unexpected. But a call from a cousin you haven't spoken to in forever? Yep, that came right out of the blue. So it gets me thinking, what's the last thing that happened to you completely out of the blue?